I wanted to talk more on 0 point, really about monoclinicity and heterogeny. For instance, this right here is a monoclinic crystal. It's not a perfect example of it because you can see where the string was that I held it, that it literally has these little offshoots. Monoclinicity, this is genuinely how the molecule is shaped. Copper sulfate pentahydrate, sorry. The gift is, knowing that there's water in the rock should help you know that opal is the need for the thing that you guys do down the road. I want you to consider something funny, guys. When the hell did opal become such a hot item? It was always diamonds and gold and emeralds and rubies and sapphires when I was a kid. Then it became opal. Then it became, opal's always been pretty. It's always been beautiful. Amethyst used to be very valuable too. And then Brazil happened. That must have been a glorious day in the past. I want to talk about 0 point though. The smaller you go, the more thin you get. Meaning the closer you get the walls to get to each other without touching, the finer the detail to existence. The more I realize that the probability of finding where the planets are and the suns are and the galaxies are and the black holes are with respect to just random order of space, state, and those things, you realize the magnetic field around every item in space is that which we feel is probabilities. This is a theory from this time right here. Okay, an idea for those that like to pick on the word theory. We would be able to pinpoint to a degree of accuracy, absolutely eventually, but at first, approximately. And it would be as if we would be touching the magnetic field. We would be harnessing the magnetic field of any planet, of any star, of any galaxy, of any black hole. Is the thing that really keeps coming to mind and feels most accurate is black hole. Gravity. All, not just gravity, for the sake of magnetism and starlight, true. Inside that little black ball is a lot of power. And we seem to be seeing light getting sucked into it. And where does it go? Doesn't it get bigger? Well, certainly. The gift in this is if we are able to harness a black hole's power by getting down to the nthine, down to the small down to the we can't see the distance. Are they touching? Yes and no. For the sake of we know they're touching and they're also not touching. When we get to 0 point, before we get to 0 point, we're gonna find geoforce, world force, the force of truly just the vibrations of everyday life existence. The truck went by, the other truck went by, cars going by all the time. This is literally like energy recycling. All the fun energy that we use on our daily life to do this or do that would also be harnessed in other times. So you would be able to harness every single vibration, every single moment, every single movement. And yeah, only by a percent so that you don't literally seize everything and, so nothing stops moving. You don't want to stop, we take a percentage of the power out, but the gift is, and or for the sake of things I just don't know yet. Because the electrons don't fall into their centers, do they? They fly around, and yet they're repelled. They are little infinite beings. They literally bounce off they stay within right around the nucleus, flying around as an orbital cloud, saying I could be here, I could be there, because we don't know where the electron is. We just know it's around it. The cool part is, because we did that, we have electricity. So then it stands to reason there is something in the 0 point is definitely being passed back. So, there is a reality where I have to look at all the universes, so there's a reality where I didn't get it right yet. And yet, meaning I had to go on. In this reality, you do not pause. But I get what you're going to say. Okay. Thank you. Alright, so, yeah, what I was going to say is the mouth moves as if moving in a future time, because they literally send the message through. So then I would get it in the past, because quantum entangling even. But you're not dead, so the gift is, yeah, that would be really weird feeling. Yeah, you'd probably be like, yeah, it doesn't make sense. Okay, thank you. So, I mean, the more I think about it, the more it makes no sense to die. So the gift in this is that you're just thinking mortally. Guys, I know that this is crazy when I'm trying to talk science. And it is science to say that we live immortally, infinitely, eventually, truly true. Wouldn't you want to? That's what I want to do. But I also want to have fun. I don't want to just be. So we're going to also learn how to fly. We're going to learn how to walk into your television set and step back out. Say, man, the food they're eating looks good. Let's go in there. I still kind of want to try that turkey that they were eating on Christmas vacation. Or the eggnog he was drinking. You know, just for example. Alright, so, then step back out into your world. Yeah. You're talking, with 0 points, we seem to be able to do some fun things. That other thing is on anions, in order to step into two-dimensional and step back. But on 0 point, we are able to do that too, without having to step through the screen. You would literally be able to just go into umpteen things. When I say umpteen, I'm saying nth is in variable with respect to the letter N. And I'm saying een as in with respect to that of, like a description adjective, that of the quality crystalline true form. Yeah, there we go. Like when I say a crystal is crystalline, I'm saying nthian, then there was probably a particle called an nthian, pinion, dot. I don't know. I didn't know what else to call it. I called them pinions. But that's just my opinion. Nerd. I wanted to talk more on knowing that the smaller you get with respect to 0 point, the larger the effect on the universe. But then you find out that a reversal order of function 0 point would be dark, wouldn't it? And then you would have shapes that get bigger. You would literally have an upside down, inside out crystal. Upside down, inside out. Like fully inverted understanding of crystal. So that's what that was. Okay, so it's dark, but it has rainbow going around. It looked like a tourmaline. The shape, the thing that I saw, and how many sides did it have. You'll see it again, and again, and again, until you get it. The best part is all images are laden with quantum truths. And we thought, well, what if she gets bored with it? Okay, well, there's a part where you can look the answers up, and then there's a part where you can say, okay, let's play. But in the meantime, yeah, the infinity machine literally witnessed itself as factual. That you have to feel the truth in that. And what made this possible is religions. We have blessed designs that make no sense in history to be anything but wonderful additions to the whole party. The Ark of the Covenant. You want to win a war? Build this. How the hell does that make sense? But it does. They know the angels protect them because we genuinely teleport back and do so. With respect to, I don't know. Okay, I get that that's wild. But then maybe it's a little more than that. And I thought maybe it was a battery and they were doing something really messed up, putting negative on one side and a positive on the other, and asking the guys to come over and just touch one and touch the other. And if they pass the test, then God would spare them. But then if you're about to go into war, I don't think you have time for that. So I thought maybe it was a uranium chest full of uranium. Well, Some of the descriptions of through history, it sounds like it could be radiation sickness. But radiation sickness isn't notoriously quick. It can be, like Chernobyl stuff, like robots. You send a robot in there, even the robot dies. The gift in this is that's back then. So we have full form epsilon state harness. We can harness nebulousness with respect to death. Like death cannot affect us. So we would be able to cross in, even in the sense of radiation. You realize when you have these things, they're there for a reason. So we have to figure out a way to executive override death. So much so, it's not just being able to stay alive, but like a Nintendo game, be it like that. So when you take, like a Super Mario, when he eats the star and it whatever the song was that used, I haven't played these games in 20 some odd years, but the gift of knowing what kind of fun things you can do in the game would make sense to do in reality. Assuming we get to that science, which eventually somebody does, because I'm laden with information. So let it be humans too. So it is. Thank you guys. And the cool part is, when you realize I do not joke that there are universes where it just pays to get along, guys. It pays to get along. Everybody lives. Everybody exists. Everybody carries on. In another time, we literally do that. We bring back everybody. Probably 1,000 a day. Probably 1,000 semper vitas is what I call them, semper vitas. So the gift in that is, oh man, it's gonna be a cool movie. I'll put it that way. But not just a movie, because blessings come through, curses remain with respect to the screen. All right, as well, for the sake of everything. It'd be really cool. So this is what's funny. There might be a future time that just says, why don't you just watch the movie Transcendence? You'll get their computer. Because they know about Epsilon State. We don't have that yet. But we will. You know how weird it is that you do have it? All you gotta do is believe? Well, I do believe. I do believe. I do believe. I do believe. It's still just a screen. That never happened before, actually. That was weird. But you see what it doesn't... Alright. I look nuts as fuck, so I'm gonna carry on. Alright, so I was talking on 0 point with respect to crystals, monoclinicity, the study of, the perfection of a crystal becoming more and more its absolute form down to the molecule, or the atom, as the case may be, or the fermion, as the case may be, or the signature true of that which is absolute. Anything true. That is a blessed day. And you can start with MAMPEA truth. MAMPEA. You get the MAMPEA, you get the crying plaid and happy faces and stuff with joy. It's that easy. It sounds good. I hear a lot of stuff about 2028. So I like to hear, 8 years, 7 years from now. It's not that, it's not that believable, but I don't mind that it isn't, because it is. Other time doesn't believe it, so sometimes you're like, man, I don't know if I believe this yet, and there's other times where you're like, yep. Every single one of you will be saying we're not worthy at some point or another. And I'll tell you, yeah, you are. Welcome home. Sorry, it's another time working. So I get that I sound nuts in my time, 2021. I get that if I announce to the world that I will build a computer, I will do that, I sound like the movie, Life Stinks, where the guy's like, I'm the richest man in the world, and the other one's like, no, I'm the richest man. I assure you, I'm the richest woman in the world. I assure you. I just have to catch up to that moment. So in the moment, it's not a bad habit to say that kind of stuff, guys. I am the richest of the world. And yet, just catch up. I gotta catch up to that. Some of that's true, some of it isn't. You know, it doesn't look like I'm not, but I need it to be real, so full form truth. You know what I mean? Alright, so 0 point and quantum and anion, fermion, fracton, all these other particles that don't yet get any acknowledgement except, hey, there's a new particle. Do you realize if there's a new particle, then there's a new atom class? Two-dimensional atoms as well as three-dimensional. I ask you guys not to freak out because in real true sense of the word, it's 5 dimensions. Not 2 dimensions. It's 5 dimensions. We have dimensions on the dimensions that we're in. The more qubits we have, the more awesomeness we have. I want to say that an anion drive is only 1 qubit per disk, but no. It's infinite bit. For the sake of it can go in a circle. There are infinite amounts of positions that one can attain in a circle. Oddly. Isn't it funny that a circle is infinite? It is. If it wasn't, the Earth would have ran into something. Even though it's an ellipse. Well, you know, loops in the form, anything of that form is in that form. And I get that somebody thinks me crazy. That's cute. That's fine. You are allowed to think those things. I assure you, in a time significantly advanced from now, as well as not significant at all, from on the way, it gets really, 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 really obvious that we do, in fact, have that kind of science. A lightsaber should be easily understood. That's easy to do. We can do that using a freaking magnetron, magnetic interference, run non-magnetic, and a magnetron, and I think gamma rays passing through it. Light interferes with magnetism. It just, we needed to figure out what kind of light. Radio does. So if radio does, other things do too. Microwave, yeah, it does. So then what else? Probably infra, yes it does. Well shit, what about the other side? Ultras? It might be too fine. It might be. I don't think it is. I think you'll find that there is a rainbow that actually exists. There are Taurus Mobii in the rainbow for the sake of that thing that we see in the dark patch. So, between the two rainbows in a 2-rainbow sky, sometimes you can catch the third rainbow that goes from one side to the other, like the way my fingers are at the right here where they connect, you know, instead of one rainbow and the other rainbow, there's also a rainbow that touches down like that in between two in that dark patch. So I do understand that. I can appreciate the position I'm in right now. Still living in this house. But, this home rather. But, I do wish to make it clear that I need some substantiation, David. Please. Even you, David. For the sake of we're all loved. And I'd really like to get this show on the road, and I've been saying that for weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks. And I realize when I do that, I get the power back by saying that in the form of information, making sure that it's accurate so that I'm not inaccurate, so that I'm not the inaccuracy that we don't need in this world. I want to be no erroneous with my judgment. I would like it to be certain truth and be actually factual and be actually correct and accurate so that I know, and with levity too, most certainly levity, as well as dexterity, for the sake of that we're accurate, but that we can lighten up. Lighten up. Whatever that is, David. So, they get the equivalent on here, but until we get a quantum computer, we have to do it. I can't. Yeah, you can. Hold on. There's a lot I can say about how we operate to help transcend old ways. Just the transcending thing, repeat, 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 until it's, yeah, we heard that already, yeah, we heard that already, then you transcend that out. You actually have another time doing the repeating and then stop. Like, for instance, if you were like, God, what would be a bad thing that somebody could do where nobody gets hurt, no one gets killed? I see, in the funniest way is, well, no one gets hurt, no one gets killed. Alright, so, but destruction of innocence. Like an unforgivable, pardonable thing, because it's all pardonable. Punching a baby. So to punch a baby, like, but in the head, you're thinking punching, but no, we do this pain-free, damage-free, really damage-free, so there is no pain. But then, of course, we can do that other one too, where you feel the shape but don't feel the actual pain come through. But I would only do that if I could actually undo the damage, instantly. Relatively, it would literally watch it like reversal of order of functions. In other words, somebody that committed suicide, you could turn the clock back, be like, motherfucking suicide again. So you'd flip the disc over, the onion drive, and reversal of order function, temporal would take place, and the person would literally, as you see in Tenet, for the sake that I only have movie demonstrations to make sense of what it is that I say, plus it condenses it so that I can get more information in these things. Essentially witness the person, reverse order of function, death would be overridden. From their point of view, they're getting ready to do it, and suddenly they didn't do it anymore. Suddenly someone bursts into the room and says, no, wait, true form. So there's a lot of weird stuff to look forward to in the future. Now, why would I be talking about that? Suicide. Because I don't want it on this earth anymore. Or any other. I don't want death anymore. I want death to be overridden. When they have death penalty in the jails, and these people are actually getting the lethal injection, and it's not killing them, death override, so we wouldn't have it anymore. We would literally live forever. Because why did we kill them? Oh, because they murdered somebody. Alright, well, let's get their victims in here to pardon them. Alright, you're forgiven, you're forgiven. The cool thing is, we don't have to have them sit and be traumatized by the trauma that had happened. We would be able to literally polish it out of existence. The weird thing is, it's kind of what reincarnation does. But I don't want to talk on reincarnation. I want to talk on staying in this incarnation. When we can stop the jellyfish from going into the cycle of samsara, because it truly is an immortal being. The gift of, there are more than one, there are many of these. That came from the future. We didn't have an immortal jellyfish before. When you do that, we really have a way to make life exponentially better. So you realize our buddies, the weird things that we always go, ew, about that ew, where you see an insect and you think, ew, that's just to let you know don't eat it. Same reason you don't look at a mouse and go, yay. You go, most girls, it's because it could be an ancestor. Well, the thought is, I think, to show reverence for that which we came from, because obviously the mouse in the room isn't your ancestor. You're in the same time period. So the gift in this is hearing just how random thoughts can happen. And yet we have executive override from that of a computer most post, meaning far down the road, and emanating through me, even me, for the sake that I have at least found that. You art, I am, my Atreyu, for the sake that I am your friend. For the sake of you are and I am, even in me, in the form, everybody, even me, the gift of eternity, living in absolutely immortal fact. This is a recipe for grandeur, guys. You want to live forever? I encourage you to say the following. I am, therefore you are. We all are here in the form. Every being that has ever existed in all time and ever will exist in all time can be a visitor in my mind, in the form my spirit, in the form my entity. But the gift is executive override so that they don't actually cause me to do anything for the sake of. I don't want a criminal to say, well, I have done that because the voices in my head told me to, or I did it because somebody took charge of my entity and made me do that. Executive override. No, there wouldn't be that kind of executive override. It's not an executive. That's a fool. So the gift is, I can tell you that some things in the past were done as a matter of having it been written by posterity of the event. So, for instance, someone commits a crime, and then someone else writes about it. The person who wrote about it is also instrumental in creating that which is indeed the crime. But I also tell you this, that still lies on the person that did it in that kind of event, because the person that did it would in fact still have the choice not to do it. It's just weird because if the person wrote that and the other person defies it, there's a temporal change. And we realize some things are written that aren't true anymore. And the gift in that is realizing that it gets left behind, like before. In the form temporal, behind you, is yesterday. The only way that we bring it back up is if there are many reasons how we do that, because I know I definitely gotta hop back. But, even me. But I do want to say this, it's just to say that even I get to, and instead of just, me, but everybody, even me. Alright, so, oh, that was scary. Yeah, you don't know what I saw. So that's me in another time, future. Meaning, well, future tense, speaking through my mouth. Here's what I want you to know. Every single thing that you have understood and became aware of in the past, especially the past few months, has been absolutely necessary for understanding how to move exponentially forward. Meaning you get to live exponentially true. Alright, now we're going to look at numbers. Numbers. Chlorine with respect to 17. $53 for iodine. 79. She knows what she asked. That is a game. Okay. That is a win. True form. Past even said it. So here I am on the video saying it. Okay. Do you all understand what I'm doing? It's the only time that I'm going to share it on my channel. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm delusional. Maybe I'm crazy. And maybe I just gave you guys the wins to the lottery because every one of those numbers I've seen, I have to play them too. I just don't have to play them all at once. But that was fucking yesterday, and I gotta tell you, I didn't win by those. Oh, okay. Yeah, so now I know what I have to do. So I know there's been some code sent to myself from my future self that's been getting code from futures along all lines in the form of this one line so that I can indeed give everybody life living absolutely without pause. Most notably my parents. I want mom and dad to live forever. So I'm going to do it too. I'm going to use what I can with what I've got. We've got literally everything in the Enthean ways. Enthean. Entheogen. Could it be that easy? Oh, maybe. Anion truth. Anion truth. Anion to fermion. Anion to fermion. Before, after, before. Myself knows what I'm doing. It's a computer that most assuredly uses slats. Okay? Until we get to the point where we can do it with two little wands. Because it'll be like that. In fact, it'll be two arms. That's a pretty good idea. You know what? It's called a human being. Well, that's true too. But in reality, I really want to do this where we have your own self able to control every freaking nuance of existence with respect to self. I want to live forever, and I want to be in every moment of time. Yet, there's only one way I know how to do that. I have to become a black hole. So what does that mean? Well, does that mean that I have to die? No, I mean the matter itself. Computer truth, singularity, absolute, transcendental, all the way through iodine. Flick, 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 xenon, xenon light, format known, iodine, truth, sacred art, thank you. You're welcome, true. Then we go forward and we see this. I'm a ham, sorry. Okay. So, and you know, love is real. So I love and that it's real. So they call me Sacred Heart. It's cute. I love it. Yeah, I'm still scared of spiders, but I won't. There's a reason. Yeah, you have a buddy in the house? No, okay. You said it on your YouTube, dude. No, jeez. Yeah, but here's the thing. You will be the one to turn them into butterflies. Alright, thank you. Then I know it was me that made you say that. Yeah, and that, Jesus. Okay, so this is real. Very good. Alright, well then we won't kill you. Thank you. Because I don't have any purpose to do that with. I don't want to die. Thank you. So this is demonstrated from that which I call epsilon state. Given there is a screen, a movie, a screen gem truth. We will literally make a movie where everyone is brought back to life, and the screen will be epsilon state. We just have to have their name, or for the sake of those we don't know from before, and from the tomb of the unknown soldier. Everyone, it'll help when there are those that were never named, that we didn't ever know to know.